Hey mates, and welcome to More Than Meets the Eyes. I'm your host, Blind Prime, and for today we're going to be talking about my favorite Constructacon Scavenger. I absolutely love the little bucket guy. He is my all-time favorite Constructacon, and I have been waiting all this year to get him. He's just so awesome. I like Scavenger. So today's video is going to be about Scavenger from Studio Series 86, the movie. It's a newly released Transformer. I got it in the mail the same time I got 86 Megatron, and I had to make a decision last week, and it was 86 Megatron for sure. So this week we're covering Scavenger, and next week, if nothing happens, we'll be covering Alchemist Prime. So be prepared for Alchemist Prime. But I wanted to talk about the Constructacon because Constructacons are my favorite combiner, possibly next to Leo Kaiser, depending on how good that one is. Because that one, I'm just so excited about Leo Kaiser. I don't know about the rest of you, but the engineering prototype 01 for Leo Kaiser is going to be happening soon, and next year's going to be a blast. I am excited about next year. I get Bruticus and Leo Kaiser in the same year. It's like this year, where I'm getting Superion and Devastator in the same year. It's just, it's so cool. So exciting. So, without further ado, let's talk about this figure in depth from the blind perspective. And I've got all his buddies around here that we got so far, minus Mixmaster. And we're going to be doing a size comparison with them all, so you can get an idea of how Scavenger fits amongst all of these other Constructacons. So, let's decrowd our stage for a second. Everybody's going to go off stage. Here, go stage left, here, off to the side, and off to the side with you, because the first one I want to do a size comparison with for Scavenger here is Bone Crusher, because there is a difference I was not expecting between these two. I did not expect this to happen, and I'm actually kind of cool and happy it happened, because Scavenger's always known as the little guy. And it's nice that Scavenger is no longer the little guy. Behold, Scavenger stands taller than Bone Crusher. Shoulder-wise, Scavenger's shoulder is about one stud taller than Bone Crusher's shoulder, as he is about one stud taller than Bone Crusher. Width-wise, Bone Crusher and Scavenger are actually about the same. Actually, no, Scavenger seems to be a bit wider in the shoulders, and his hips and Bone Crusher's hips are about the same. So I think Scavenger ends up becoming a better looking robot mode than Bone Crusher, who, like Perspective had mentioned, looks kind of like a short, fat dwarf. Dwarf in the sense of the Hobbit dwarfs. Just so you know. Yes, he feels like, this guy digs in the earth and stuff. But then again, he's a bulldozer, so of course he digs in the earth and stuff. And then we have Scavenger here. It's so cool. So we're going to set Bone Crusher off to the side. And let's take a look at the next one in the list of sizes, which will be Scrapper. Scrapper and Scavenger. Let's take a look at them. What is this? Scavenger is slightly taller than Scrapper? No. It can't be. It is true. Look at that. Look at that. Shoulder-wise, their shoulders are equal. Their shoulders are equal. For some reason, Scrapper is slightly shorter than Scavenger. That's weird. Okay, I'll admit that's a little odd, because I thought Scrapper was taller than Scavenger, but I guess that's not the case anymore. Let me make sure I'm not, straighten their knees out. Let's double check this, because I'm having a hard time believing it. I like doing these size comparisons for the first time on camera, so that you get my first reactions to these sizes. And wow, that is crazy. The difference in height is like half a Lego stud on their heads, but their shoulders are at the same height. Definitely weird. Weight wise, Scrapper still has the bigger weight. So we're gonna set Scrapper off over here, and let's bring in Hook, and Scavenger. Scavenger is finally shorter than something. He is shorter than Hook by just a little. Not by much, but by just a little. It seems like Scavenger's going to be in the middle of all of these sizes. Yeah. Hook is just slightly like a half a Lego stud taller than Scavenger. Their Shoulders, Hook's shoulders are taller than Scavenger's shoulders. Weight-wise, Hook definitely wins on the weight. So I'm going to set Hook over here behind Scrapper. There you go, Mr. Hook. Darn it, Hook! No, no, Scrapper, don't you fall too. Thank you. Okay. Alright, now finally we have Long Haul. The guy who they always throw the loads on. And Long Haul and Scavenger stands... Ooh, yeah, because Long Haul's the tallest. Scavenger goes up to Long Haul's chin. And definitely Long Haul is a couple of Lego studs taller than Scavenger. Long Haul's shoulder is about 1.5 Lego studs taller than Scavenger's shoulder. Weight-wise, Long Haul wins it. Long Haul is so much heavier that Scavenger just feels like a light piece of paper in my other hand in comparison, because Long Haul's just a beefy guy. Still, I wish these back wheels could have folded in. That is my biggest negative with Long Haul. I just want these wheels to fold in. Every time I touch them, I'm like, can't you just fold backwards? Okay. Nuts. Knocking things over here at blind_prod. All the time. Alright, so there we go. There's Long Haul off to the side. Now we got Scavenger. Let's bring in the handy-dandy Lego pad and take a look at how Scavenger's real size is after all these little comparisons. I got a lot of Devastator pieces laying on top of it. Yeah, this is right. Okay. Boom. Right next to him, and there we go. And that is... We got 17, 18, 19 studs tall. 19 studs tall. Not too bad. Not too bad at all. He is a decent figure for a deluxe class. He is a little taller than a Voyager class. He's definitely a lot taller than the other deluxe Constructacon. And he has a lot to him that I really appreciate. So without further ado, let's get into this figure now that we've gone through all the little comparisons with the rest of his teammates and talk about my favorite Constructacon. Because I always like the little bucket loader things. The little cranes with the bucket on the end. They're my favorite construction vehicles, so he's always going to be my favorite. Okay, like we do here at the channel, we always start from the feet and work our way up. So let's take a look at his feet first. We've got a little bit of a negative hollow zone between his foot pads, but I really like how they've managed to texture in treads, because in the show, when these guys' feet transformed, all they did was just kind of extend the treads out on either side. So they were always walking on treads, and I always thought it'd been cool if, we got, parts in the show where they were just driving forwards without moving their legs because, they're treads. I thought that would have been really cool, but it seems like the animation to animate all that movement on the leg would have been annoying as crap. So, starting from the underside, we have a siege port under each foot in the heel, which is always great. We have some wonderful textures for the treads. Wonderful, wonderful textures for the treads. Coming up here on the legs, we've got all these little textures going all the way down and up. We've got some textures onto the side here. We've got, there's all these little layers and things that making up the apparatus that holds the tread together. So you got the metal bar in the center and then all these little wheels. Really nice. The texture of the tread goes all the way up to the hips. He does have a knee. It's hidden in here and it likes to lock. And it only goes a 90. But something I found with these Constructacons, at least the deluxe classes, which is a negative, if you don't lock the knees down, you got to kind of bend them forwards, the legs a bit forwards. Because if you do straight up legs, then he's just going to fall backwards. You have to bend your thighs forwards just a little bit, and then he can actually stand up straight. Hi, Kream. What's up? Do you like Scavenger? Hi. Don't bite my nose. Don't bite my nose. No. Who's a good Kream? I'm doing a video. Kream, I'm doing a video. You gotta... Hey, don't bite my nose. Okay, where was I? Right. So, just remember that whenever you're dealing with the legs, if you want them standing straight up and down, you've got to lock them in place, and if you want him to have any sort of movement, remember to push the thighs forwards just a bit so he can balance on his feet. Otherwise, he will constantly either be falling forwards or falling backwards because the knees aren't really ratcheted, and that knee joint is very loose. Like, take a look. We're going to do the wiggle test. Yeah, that's not supposed to happen. Yeah, that's a very loose knee. I don't like that knee. This one's all right. The other knee is very tight, but one of his knees is very, very loose, and that can cause issues. So be aware. Maybe yours is better than mine when it comes to that. So, coming over him to the groin area, we've got some cool little textures in there, little robot textures, some armor paneling and stuff. Coming up here to the top of him, we get this really fun texture, which is this line going down. It's got some really nice little edges in it and stuff. And in his chest area, we've got a couple more textures of a robot armor kind of stuff. Folded over, we've got an extended little pad there that raises up just a bit. I really like how intricate these patterns can get on the sculpt of the chest area. That's really nice. It makes him really pop, in my opinion, when it comes to how he feels. This isn't just paint here. This is all texture, and I love that. That's why I really like the Studio Series line in general when it comes to this stuff. So let's come over here to his arms, and then we'll talk about his head. We've got his accessory here, which he just comes with one, and it's this little gun. Interestingly enough, this little gun has this little slide bit on the side that kind of falls off. And when you have him in robot vehicle mode, that kind of seems like it works as an extra thing that holds the gun in place. But I don't know why it sticks out so far. And I'm intrigued to figure out maybe all these Constructacon guns combined together somehow. And this is going to be important later. But the gun, it's alright. It's similar to the one we got with Bone Crusher, but definitely big differences, like with that side piece that sticks out. And I think there was one more Constructacon that had something similar with his gun. Let's take a look. Nope. Okay, I was wrong. So, Scavenger's the only one who gets that weird little piece sticking out of the side. It's odd, but in vehicle mode it works very well. So, that's his accessory. Now let's talk about his hands. His hands don't really have any articulation. They can push inwards for transformation. His upper arm area, we've got a couple of cool textures there. Some cool armor texture at the top of it, like folded over pieces of steel. On the side, not really much going on. It's very lackluster in textures there. And on the underside of it, we've got, we've got some more little textures, but not really much going on there on the lower arm. Upper arm-wise, we've got some really cool little square textures going on there. We've got a couple of textures on this side of the shoulder. There's even a siege port right there, or no, that's not a siege port. I don't think that is. Let's take a look real quick. Just double check that. Is that a siege port, or is that just a screw hole? I think that is just a screw hole. Yeah. No, it's a siege port. So he's got a siege port on his shoulder, right above his elbow joint. And that's basically it for these shoulders. On the back of his shoulder, we got some ridges and stuff, a little vent on the back of the arm. I love me some vents. There's not really much going on this side. Ooh, it fell a bit. Now, articulation-wise for this arm, 90-degree elbow, and then full 360 on the shoulder, and he does get a slight backwards butterfly due to transformation. Now we're going to come up here to his other arm. There's not really much going on there. These are very similar arms, though, yeah, one of them does have some different... No, they're the same. They're the same. Okay. Now, let's take a look at his head. And his head here is really cool. We got the visor going on there. We've also got a face mask, and I always like me a face mask and a visor. Those are always fun things because they're really nice robot things. And his head has 360-degree movement. He can look down a little bit. He can look up a little bit, but not by much. His head is basically stationary there. On the shoulders, on either side of his head, he's got these two little things that stick up, and it works. It makes him feel rugged and stable, and they really did a good job blending the robot, blending the vehicle kibble with the robot to make something that feels like it's a construction vehicle. Like this is good, okay? This is really fun. And of course, the last part is the articulation of this arm. His crazy excavator arm, which can just kind of spread over him. So, yeah, if Mixmaster's mixing up some chemical explosives and Scavenger wants to protect himself, he can just put his put his bucket over his head, and then he protects his receptors from whatever explosions Mixmaster has going on. And next to Bone Crusher, he's the only one that can do it. Because here's Bone Crusher here. Bone Crusher can also spin the thing behind his head and cover his face as a blast shield to protect him from Mixmaster's shenanigans. And I like that. I like that you can do that. It's just to add a little bit of fun. And of course, you can take off this bucket thing if you want. Now, funny enough, you can take that off, but you get a peg there, and that means that you can't switch him out with Hook. Where did I put Hook? Hook is over here. Let's grab Hook's Hook. Come on, there it goes. So, Hook is a male end. It's a peg, and Scavenger's bucket is a peg hole. So you can combine them together and create some weird monster thing that nobody can stop. But you can just combine them together for fun. I think it's fun. You can do that. It's just an add a little bit of this character. I do wish that it was the other way around, so that the peg was on this bucket arm and the hole was there on the robot, so that I could just give him Hook's crazy hook arm, and Hook can get Scavenger's crazy bucket. I think that would just be fun. It's sad that we couldn't do that. That would just be an added layer of fun and uniqueness for this vehicle mode. Robot mode. There's the gun. I almost dropped the gun. So, my final thoughts and feelings on Scavenger. I think Scavenger is an excellent deluxe class. Does he rank in the S category? No. But he is an A-. I'll give him an A- for being an excellent little deluxe class robot. He's got the articulation. He's not too bad, and they managed to put in the combination joints very well into him, so it all comes together quite well. A- robot mode. Please tune in tomorrow, where I will be talking about how to transform Scavenger here from robot mode into his construction vehicle mode. Please tune in tomorrow. Thank you all so much for joining me today as I've blathered on about this figure that I absolutely adore. Until next Prime, bye bye for now.